Hello, mayors and mayoresses. How are you? I hope you're well. We're here to start an extra video this week because it will be released tomorrow. So I'm bringing you the bicycle content ahead of time. Finally, bikes are coming to the game, and I want to thank Paradox for giving me early access to the bicycles so I could bring them here for you. So if you enjoy this kind of video, please leave your like right at the beginning. Check your subscription. And if you have the option to hype, it doesn't cost anything, so go ahead and hype, all right? And, well, we have a city here in the background for testing. It's a completely vanilla city. I do these tests in vanilla mode without any mods, so we can really see the updates without any interference from mods. So, let's go ahead and do this pedaling test and see what changed with this free update, which will arrive tomorrow, exactly on November 19th. So, if you're watching on the release day, it will arrive tomorrow. If you're watching later, you already have access to the bicycles. Let me know in the comments. So, what did you think, alright? It's good for us to do this test. We're obviously going to open the routes section here and see if there's anything different. I think something will show up. Actually, here in landscaping, look, that's right. Look, routes and cycling docks. So, we have 8 new options here. The one-way bike lane will work like a walking path, though, right? A path dedicated to bicycles. So I'm going to leave this street and try to make a path out here for the cyclists. Here it already has its bridge version too, right? And let me see where I can finish this route here. I think on this side here, you can put a cycling path. All right. Let's take a closer look, right? Let's see how the details of the signage are here. This one is a one-way street, right? If we use this one, it updates, right? We can make it a two-way street, right? And we can see the signs as well. Pointing to both sides, I'm going to update everything here to one way. I really like the green color of the bike lane. It gives me a more ecological vibe, you know? The bike lane here in Sao Paulo is red, right? I prefer red for bus lanes. But anyway, those are just details. And here we have a lane for both cyclists and pedestrians, so it's both in one, right? Then it becomes a path, see, a bit wider. I won't be able to go through here because there's a stadium, right? But both crossings are already here too, see? For cyclists and for pedestrians. Do you think at some point we can separate the two? Look, we can, yes, this is interesting, right? So we can mix up the paths, really cool. And now let's look at the other options we have here in the cycling section. We have one with a pier. So if we want to put a pier here, look, with a pedestrian path and a bike lane, we can do it. Here, I'll try to do it in a nicer way. Look, so we can include the pier wall as well. Several little blocks of brick, of stone. It turned out really nice. And then there's this other option which has some little columns here on the side, right? In case you want to change it too. I think this wall here could be a little higher. Don't you think so? And we also have the option of a cable-stayed cyclist bridge, right? To make, look, this crossing here over the bridge or over the water with the bridge. Really cool, right? You can create some marathon circuits or bike circuits in your city, right? Create some routes for people to ride their bikes. So, this is really awesome too. There's the cable-stayed bridge, and there's also the cyclist bridge here. Look, covered, right? So cyclists don't get rained on while crossing. Or the sun, right? Sometimes the sun is really strong. And there's also the arched version, man. Really cool. We can really customize a lot here. The bike lane routes, well, just one. These are the options. We can, look, update the existing streets, okay? With the bikes and bike lanes, we come straight to the streets. Look, there in the road services options, we get, look, new options here, the bike lane, right? On just one side, that is one way, and if we want to make it two-way, right? It comes back here and on the other side too. And then there's also this option here, double bike lane, which puts it on both sides. Look how cool it turned out here. See, this intersection, okay? It automatically completes the bike lane for us all the way to the other side, right? all the way to the other corner. For this, we used to have to use the intersection marking tool in City Zoom to get a similar effect. And what if we want to update it here, huh? The avenue itself, with the bike lane, we can do it. Well, I'm going to extend a bike lane network here so we can see people riding, right? And see it working in practice. So, this seems like a great avenue to receive this upgrade here. About bike lanes, look, I just updated on a street where there's a tram passing by, right? And it fit and adapted perfectly, okay? Because after all, right? The tram tracks are in the center and the bike lanes are on the sides. It will be really cool to do a study there in Bahia de Barbosa so I can know which roads will be most suitable to have bike lanes. Well, we're actually taking the space here, see? From the parking spots, you know? On one-way streets for cars, I can have 2 directions for bikes. See, I can do it, and it's good too. Well, while people are getting used to the bike lanes here, which are new, let's explore an experience that's coming, still in this free update. I've already seen that here in Parks and Recreation. We have some new things, like for example, the cycling park. I'll put the cycling park here for us to check out. Is it like a bicycle wheel? A rim here, very cool. In the parking area here, we also get bicycle parking. The bicycle shelter that we can put on the sidewalk here, look, as if it were recycled. It really looks like a bus stop. There's even space here, look, to store bicycles. There's a space here that's a bit bigger and covered. Anyway, there are several here. Look, an even bigger shelter, a bicycle depot, right? Of various sizes here, a bike rack. Man, what are the differences here? In practice, I'm going to put a bike rack here and another one even bigger, man. The shelter is for parking, okay? The storage, it says here that it's a place where cyclists can leave their bikes while they travel around the city. In a way, it's also a parking lot. Or is it the one that you ride your bike to the station, leave it in the storage, take the subway or the train, then when you come back, you get your bike and go home, right? It's something that happens a lot, is that right? It can be improved with clothing and some extra storage space. Cool, look, you get here, leave your bike. There's a locker room there, I imagine a bathroom. Riding a bike sounds good. And are there any improvements here, huh? Back entrance, so you can put an entrance back here, space for additional storage too. Look, he adds it here. And there are also the changing rooms that he adds here in the front. Look, exactly, it's a little bathroom here. Very cool, man. I really liked it. The small bike rack also has its improvements. And here, look, we have the storage rooms, right? These ones don't have the improvements, right? But they're more compact here, let's say. And here we have the bike shelter, right? The bike racks, very cool. Well, about the laws here, right? We also have a new policy, right? To restrict bicycle traffic or to encourage it, right? Cycling initiative, I'll apply it here right away so we can already see people getting excited and riding their bikes around, man. They also added a few small things, like windmills. In the energy generation section, this elevated water tank here, multi-column, these are small additions, you know. I won't dwell on it, but there were small touches. Now I'll focus on cool things introduced to public transportation, for example. Now we have this municipal bus station, which we didn't have before, right? There was this one here, which is bigger and all, and this one here. This new one allows us to have not only a taxi stand, but also parking. Up here, look how crazy. There's an integrated subway, and down here is a subway platform. So, it's a new bus terminal that just came up. And do you remember how I used to complain about the freight train terminal? That it only has an exit on one side? It looks like they fixed that. Now we have here, look, a cargo transfer station, which now has exits on both sides. Better late than never, right? And it can be improved here with additional warehouses. And there's also a railway terminal here. I'll place it here. It's a large complex for storage, sorting, and train maintenance. So it's kind of a jack of all trades, right? It gives us 8 vehicles. There's still an extra track. We can add an extra track. It kind of duplicates, right? It duplicates, and there's also the maintenance garage. And there's this cool option here. We also got look in the passenger section, a terminal station that will work more or less like that station from the Mediterranean, right? Look, it's the same style here with an exit only on one side, right? But this one isn't in the Mediterranean style. It's a more modern style and it's also a bit smaller, but it's a new addition there. We also got tram stations in addition to the tram stops there that we used to put here, right, on the side of the road. Now we can, right, put stations on these tracks here exclusively for the tram. Look at that, right? We can, you see, make a nicer and exclusive stop here that doesn't have to share with the cars. And there are several sizes, okay? We have this one, which is a little bigger, and this one that's even bigger. Look, so the tram comes in here, does the maneuver, and serves everyone, right? Here's the stop, even some benches, right, for people to sit. Really cool, I liked it. Not to mention it's beautiful, right? These glass roofs here. Look, this one is new too, right? The area for the bonfire is big. I don't think it was here. I'm not exactly sure, right? This square with the terrace here, if it was already here anyway. There are new squares now. I won't go into detail since the focus is on transportation and cycling, but there are 5 new squares and parks. You know what else came? Also new zoning, right? I was taking a look here. Look. Mixed-use, stylish city building. Old Americana, so this is really cool, okay? Let's put it here to grow and we'll see how it turns out. And there's also the European version from the old city, right? A mixed-use building. And they also mentioned it, right? That the low-density residential areas, European and American ones, right? They also have new variations. So I'm going to put everything here for us to see if any of these new variations show up. Man, and look at this old American mixed style. How cute, huh? From wall to wall, fitting one with the other. They're at level 1, but I believe they should get a little bigger in the next levels, right? The little balcony is cool, isn't it? Advertisement, of course, right? American style, and look here at the European style, right? This mixed style. From an old city, that became new. Look, it's really cute too. Really well done, right? Shops on the ground floor and residences on top. And here is the American style, right? Having this contrast with the old city is also beautiful. Well, let's see if people are riding their bikes. Hey, look, I've already seen our first cyclist, Alexander. Nicholas. Actually, right, he's going home. He's a teenager. By the way, everyone can use a bicycle in the city except for children, okay? Let's keep a close eye on this teenager here. Look, how is it here? The model of the bicycle? It's well made, it's nice. Well, I'm gonna hit play here. We'll watch him riding while I read to you here. How will the bicycles work for citizens to use? It will depend on several factors, right? The availability of a car in the family, right? At home, if there's a place to park the bicycle, whether it's good in the city or not. See, he left the bike lane because of the bus stop, right? Apparently the bike lane doesn't go in there. At the bus stop, he had to share the lane with cars. Right, too? It affects whether he uses the bicycle, the cost and time of pathfinding, comfort, his behavior, and his money. Adding bicycles brought a performance challenge, comparing walking, cars, and public transportation to determine the best route. Adding bicycles directly would make everything heavier. Instead, we added an extra check. If the house has a car available, then that's basically it, man. Look, he's pedaling like crazy here. If the car's available, the person compares walking versus driving versus public transportation. If the car's not available, he compares walking versus biking versus public transportation. So driving is out of the equation. That's how the person is going to make their decision. Unlike cars, every household has enough bicycles for all its residents. When a person decides to ride a bike, they take a bicycle from storage, use it during the trip, and need to park it to reach their destination. When returning home, he stores the bicycle again and can use... So he'll use a different bike on the next trip, meaning he doesn't have a fixed one, right? The bicycles are generated when he decides to ride. Well, if you want to know more details, they released a patch note, right? A development diary. You can easily find it on Skylines' social media or website. I'll also include it in the description. Besides, of course, several bug fixes, which is a list I won't go over here, because the goal of the video was to show the new bicycle features and the new implementations. Well, so I'm going to end the video here. I truly hope you'll do the same. A big hug and see you next time. See ya.